The movie begins with a man named Winston who is sitting in a small wooden house in Alaska. Suddenly, Winston hears a noise outside the house. He gets up, opens the window curtain, and is startled to find an animal standing there. Moments later, two police officers break down the door and arrest him. An American police officer named Meline introduces herself, and we learn that Winston is a fugitive from the law. He works as an accountant for a corrupt businessman and crime boss named Maury, from whom he embezzled a large sum of money before fleeing. Winston offers Meline a deal. He is willing to testify against Maury in court, but only if the police provide him with full protection. Meline contacts her direct supervisor, Carol, and informs her of Winston's proposal. Carol agrees, and the next day, Meline arranges for a private plane to take Winston to the nearby city of Angry, from where they will travel to America to hand him over to the authorities. Winston mocked the small, dilapidated plane, but Meline explained its necessity. She secured Winston, contacted Carol to confirm their boarding, and received instructions to take him to Seattle upon arrival in America. The pilot, Daryl, a talkative man, initiated takeoff, encountering turbulence that initially worried Meline, but was deemed normal by Daryl, who assured a safe arrival in Seattle. When Meline asks about Winston's charges, Daryl avoids answering, saying it is none of his business. Meline notices a wound behind Daryl's ear and asks about it. He claims he got hurt while performing maintenance on the plane. During the flight, a bird strike causes the plane to shake, revealing to Winston that the pilot is an imposter. He finds the real pilot's license. He unsuccessfully tries to warn Meline, eventually using a ruse about feeling ill to get her attention. Meline then notices blood on the imposter's arm and remembers his prior knowledge of their destination, further confirming her suspicions. Meline contacted air traffic control, but Daryl falsely claimed the signal was blocked. Meline then questioned Daryl about a pilot named Jackie, exposing his lie about knowing her. This led to Daryl attacking and incapacitating Meline. Winston offered Daryl $1 million to spare his life, after Daryl revealed Maury's displeasure. Winston confessed to embezzling millions and paying a monthly bribe to avoid Maury's wrath. Daryl, unmoved by the bribe, affirmed his enjoyment of his work as a killer and implied further harm to Meline. As Daryl takes Winston's glasses and smashes them, Meline begins to regain consciousness, but pretends to still be out. She quietly retrieves her stun gun and uses it on Daryl when he approaches her. Winston, terrified, watches as Meline tries to calm him down. However, Daryl regains consciousness and attacks Meline again. During the struggle, Meline hits the plane's controls, causing it to descend rapidly. She manages to regain control and activates the autopilot. She then retrieves a pair of scissors from a first aid kit and frees herself with Winston's help. They try to move Daryl, but he is too heavy. Winston suggests killing Daryl, but Meline refuses. Together, they tie him up and search his pockets, finding pictures of Winston's mother's house. Winston becomes worried for his mother's safety, and Meline assures him she will warn her. Meline unsuccessfully tries contacting air traffic control due to a weak signal, but eventually informs them of the unconscious pilot and her uncertain location before losing connection. She then uses a satellite phone to contact Carol, who sends Hassan to guide her. Following Hassan's instructions, Meline stabilizes the plane and corrects its course. The pilot, Daryl, awakens and threatens Meline, prompting her to briefly aim a gun at him before lowering it due to his warning about a potential explosion. Hassan guides Meline until the plane is near the coast, at which point he instructs her to contact him again when she sees the shoreline. Meline begins to suspect that someone within the investigation office is working for Maury, as he seemed to know about their plans too quickly. Carol calls to inform her that the real pilot, Daryl, has been found dead in his home, tortured before being killed. Meline realizes that only a few people knew about the mission, including the Attorney General and the head of the investigation office. As Meline continues her conversation with Carol, she suddenly sees a mountain ahead and quickly ends the call. She pulls the plane's controls sharply to avoid a collision and manages to gain altitude just in time. Daryl, who had hidden a knife, retrieves it and prepares to strike. A plane struck a block of ice without incident. Daryl revealed to Meline and Winston that Meline had killed a witness who was to testify to the police, similar to Winston's situation. Winston was confused, but Meline told him not to worry. Daryl then asks Meline who allowed her to return to fieldwork after that incident. This causes Meline to lose her temper. She gets up and starts hitting Daryl. During the struggle, her glasses fall off, and Daryl picks them up, breaking one of the arms and hiding it. Meline then notices that Winston is terrified of her and decides to explain what happened. She tells him that some time ago, she was responsible for protecting a witness in an important case. They were hiding in an old hotel until the day of the court hearing when the witness was supposed to testify. The girl asked Meline if she could take a bath alone without being watched. Meline allowed her to go into the bathroom and left her in the bathtub, which was against security protocol. Unfortunately, a hired killer appeared and threw an incendiary device at the girl, causing her to catch fire and die. Meline was punished for the incident and banned from fieldwork for a long time. Meline discovers a spy in her office after a call with Carol regarding Winston's handover. The spy's knowledge about Meline confirms her suspicions. Carol promises to send a security team for Winston. Meline questions Carol about Cole's involvement, learning that Cole is unaware of the mission, leading Meline to suspect Carol. After ending the call with Carol, Meline calls Cole directly. His secretary answers and tells her that Cole is on vacation, but Meline insists on speaking to him, explaining that it's a matter of life or death. Cole eventually answers, and Meline tells him that Carol's the spy working for Maury. Cole is shocked and says he will take appropriate action immediately. He also mentions that he is currently at his home in the city of Skagway and will cut his vacation short to return to the office. Meline overheard Winston admitting to sending $25,000 monthly to Skagway, Cole's city of residence. This led Meline to believe Cole, not Carol, is the spy. She then contacted Carol, retracted her accusations, and urged Carol to flee the office due to an impending arrest orchestrated by Cole. Meline contacted the pilot, confirming sufficient fuel to reach the airport. Daryl, having freed himself, attacked Winston and attempted to strangle Meline. Winston intervened, and Meline used a signal gun and fire extinguisher to subdue Daryl. Meline returns to Winston to calm him down and gives him a painkiller to help him endure the pain. Winston, however, is terrified and keeps saying that he is going to die. He asks Meline to visit his mother and lie to her, telling her that he was doing good things. Meline reassures him that he will survive and calls Hassan to update him on the situation. She asks how to increase the plane's speed to save Winston, but Hassan warns her that increasing the speed will cause the fuel to run out before they reach the airport. Meline insists, and Hassan guides her on what to do. Meline contacted Carol but spoke to Cole, who revealed Carol was a spy killed in a car accident. Meline accused Cole of orchestrating Carol's death and being a spy for Maury due to monthly $25,000 transfers to his account. Cole denied her accusations. Meline, feeling guilty about Carol's death, contacts Hassan for landing instructions. Daryl escapes his restraints, attacks Meline, and is shot. Meline regains control of the plane, but the engine fails before a successful, engineless landing guided by Hassan. As the plane lands, its wheel breaks, and Meline loses control. Daryl falls from the plane and is struck by emergency vehicles. Paramedics attend to Winston, but Meline discovers a paramedic attempting to strangle Winston. Hassan celebrates Medeline's success. Winston thanks Meline for saving him, and she notices that the phone call is still connected. She picks up the phone and hears someone blaming the killer for using his weapon and asking if the mission is over. Meline realizes that the mission is finally over. The end. Subscribe if you like the movie. Thank you for watching.